The sound of a ticking time bomb isn't always digital. Sometimes it sounds like a faint metallic knocking deep within the aluminum architecture of a combustion engine. For Toyota, a company that built an empire worth $300 billion on a single word, reliability, that sound has become the soundtrack to a $5 billion nightmare. This is not just a story about a truck. This is a forensic autopsy of a corporate catastrophe. We are looking at the death of the V8, the birth of the V35A-FTS, and the microscopic debris that brought the world's largest automaker to its knees. To understand the magnitude of this failure, we have to go back to the decision that started it all, the decision to kill the 5.7-liter V8. For 2 decades, the 3URFE V8 was the gold standard of American durability. It was inefficient, it was heavy, and it was practically indestructible. When Toyota announced the 3rd-generation Tundra, they promised the impossible: more power, more torque, and better efficiency through the magic of twin turbocharging. They gave us the V35A-FTS. On paper, it is an engineering marvel. A 3.5-liter V6 with a 60-degree bank angle, utilizing both port and direct injection, Toyota's D4S system. It features laser-clad valve seats, an incredibly complex variable cooling system, and electronic wastegate actuators. It was designed to compete with Ford's EcoBoost, but with Toyota's legendary longevity. But deep inside the casting facilities at Toyota Motor Manufacturing, Alabama, something was going wrong. Something invisible to the naked eye, but fatal to the tolerances of a high-performance engine. This is the story of NHTSA Recall 24V381. This is the story of how 102,000 engines were sentenced to death before they even left the lot. Let's look at the financials. Wall Street reacts to uncertainty, but they react even more violently to confirmed hardware failures. When the news broke that Toyota was recalling over 100,000 Tundras and Lexus LX 600s, the stock didn't just wobble. The analyst community gasped. Why? Because this isn't a software patch. This isn't a sensor recalibration. This is a total engine replacement. Do the math. A short block replacement at a dealership involves removing the cab of the truck. It requires 30 to 40 hours of billable labor. The parts alone, the block, the crank, the bearings, the gasket kits, retail for over $15,000. Multiply that by 102,000 units, you are looking at a liability floor of $2 billion, potentially spiraling to $5 billion when you factor in logistics, rental cars, and the inevitable class action lawsuits. But the money is secondary. The primary casualty is the brand equity. When you buy a Range Rover, you expect repairs. When you buy a Tundra, you are buying insurance against mechanical failure. Toyota voided that insurance policy with a manufacturing error so elementary it baffles the engineering mind: machining debris. According to the filings submitted to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, the defect originated in the production process of the engine block. During the machining of the cylinder block, specific cleaning processes failed to clear swarf, metal shavings, and debris from the complex oil galleries and coolant passages. These aren't large chunks of metal. We are talking about particles measured in microns, but in a modern engine, microns matter. The V35A-FTS operates with incredibly tight bearing clearances to maintain oil pressure and support the massive torque loads of a twin-turbo setup. When this debris loosens, it enters the oil stream. It bypasses the filter during cold start bypass modes or simply circulates before the filter can trap it. It finds its way to the main bearings. The main bearings are the foundation of the engine. They hold the crankshaft in place. They endure the explosive force of combustion thousands of times per minute. When debris embeds itself into the soft babbitt material of the bearing, it disrupts the hydrodynamic oil film. Metal touches metal. Friction spikes. Heat builds instantly. The bearing seizes. The connecting rod, now untethered from its rhythmic rotation, can shatter, punching a hole through the side of the engine block. This is what owners experienced on I-95, on the Grapevine in California, and in driveways. A sudden loss of power, a distinct knocking sound, and then silence. We need to analyze the specific component failure, the main bearings. In the V35A, these are cross-bolted for rigidity. It is a robust design intended to handle high boost pressures. However, the debris issue highlights a critical flaw in the quality control protocol at the Alabama plant. How does a company famous for the Toyota production system, the very philosophy of Kaizen and zero defects, allow metal shavings to remain in a production block? Sources indicate a change in the machining line process, a modification intended to increase throughput or efficiency, which inadvertently created a blind spot in the cleaning cycle. This is the classic trap of modern manufacturing, optimization becoming the enemy of durability. The recall remedy is equally controversial. Initially, Toyota suggested short block replacements. A short block is just the bottom end, the block, crank, pistons. The technicians would have to transfer the cylinder heads, the turbos, the timing cover, and all the accessories from the dead engine to the new block. This is a surgical procedure performed in a chaotic environment. A dealership service bay is not a clean room. The risk of introducing new debris, or improperly sealing the heads, or failing to torque the complex timing chain tensioners correctly is massive. Recognizing this, Toyota pivoted.
They are now authorizing full engine replacements for many affected VINs, a complete long block drop-in. This is an admission of the severity of the contamination. If the debris is in the oil galleries, it is in the heads. It is in the variable valve timing phasers. It is in the turbos. You cannot clean it out. You have to scrap the entire unit. Let's talk about the turbos. The V35A uses low-inertia twin turbochargers. These spin at over 150,000 RPM. They are oil-lubricated and oil-cooled. If debris from the block reaches the turbo bearings, the turbo fails. If a turbo fails on the intake side, it sends shrapnel into the combustion chamber. The catastrophic chain reaction is instantaneous. This is why the NHTSA investigation was escalated so quickly. A seizing engine at highway speeds causes a loss of power steering and power braking assist. It is a safety hazard, not just a reliability inconvenience. The Office of Defects Investigation, ODI, tracked these reports, forcing Toyota's hand. But there is a deeper layer to this investigation, the cover-up angle. Did Toyota know? Internal documents referenced in the recall chronology suggest that Toyota identified a production anomaly months before the recall was issued. They attempted to contain it by changing the cleaning process mid-cycle. They hoped the failure rate would be within acceptable tolerances. It wasn't. The internet accelerated the discovery. Forums like tundras.com and YouTube channels began aggregating failure data long before the official recall. Owners were posting oil analysis reports, Blackstone lab results showing high levels of copper and lead, signs of bearing disintegration on engines with less than 5,000 miles. The community investigated the crime before the police arrived. Now look at the competition. The Ford F-150 Power Boost Hybrid and the GM 3.0 Duramax Diesel are watching this blood in the water. For years, Tundra owners paid a Toyota tax, a premium price for outdated tech, because they knew it would last 300,000 miles. Now they have a truck that might not last 3,000 miles, with a complex twin-turbo hybrid system that is a nightmare to service out of warranty. The resale value of 2022 and 2023 Tundras has taken a measurable hit. Dealers are reporting inventory pileups. The indestructible halo is shattered. We must also examine the Lexus LX600. This is a $120,000 flagship SUV. It uses the same V35A engine. Imagine the customer demographic here. These aren't contractors. These are executives, business leaders, families trusting the pinnacle of Japanese luxury. To have an LX600 seize on the way to the Hamptons or Aspen is a brand-destroying event. Toyota cannot afford to alienate this demographic. The cost of the recall for the LX600 includes white glove service, loaner vehicles of equal status, and reputational damage control that exceeds the hardware cost. So what is the fix? Toyota is replacing the engines, but the question remains, are the new engines safe? Have they truly purged the manufacturing process of debris? Or is this a fundamental design sensitivity of the V35A architecture? Critics argue that the tight tolerances required for efficiency make the engine intolerant of any imperfection, whereas the old V8 could digest a handful of sand and keep running. This is the trade-off of modern emissions regulations. The EPA demands higher MPG. The only way to get it is smaller displacement, forced induction, and tighter tolerances. The margin for error is zero. Toyota stepped outside that margin. This investigation leads us to a terrifying conclusion. The era of the million-mile Toyota may be over, not because Toyota forgot how to build cars, but because the regulatory environment and the physics of modern high-efficiency engines make that level of durability statistically impossible to guarantee at mass production scale. The V35A-FTS is a masterpiece of performance, but it is a fragile masterpiece. It requires perfect manufacturing, their legendary quality control, to a significantly more complex machine. They lost. The debris in the bearings is the physical evidence of that loss. As thousands of Tundras sit in service bays waiting for heart transplants, the automotive world watches and waits.
Will Toyota bounce back? Historically, yes, but the scar tissue from the V35A recall will remain on the brand for a generation. This is the secret truth of the Tundra recall. It wasn't just about batch of parts. It was the moment the industry realized that even the giants can bleed.